Another way to use the circle of excellence is a wonderful way, and that has to do with just using it to change the future, change the way you're going to do something in the future. So the setup is the same. You imagine the circle, you imagine something that you do or something that you did or something about you that's outstanding. You step into the circle, which already has sight, sound, color, and so forth. You're bathing in it, you're getting out of it, you're throwing some energy into it in your mind, making it more powerful. You're imagining something else that's outstanding about you, or something else that you did that was outstanding. You're stepping into it again, bathing in that wonderfulness, that power, that outstanding part of you, just all that energy. And while you're in that circle, you imagine what you would do differently in the future. And what you're going to find is that this is a very powerful part of NLP. When you ask a question like that of your subconscious mind, what would I do differently in the future? Or if you have a patient that you're working with and you ask them to ask the same thing of themselves, what would I do differently in the future? What you've got is a situation of extreme power, because first of all, you got all those good feelings. You've got all those good feelings flowing through you about being outstanding, and you've got the energy. You brought a couple outstanding parts of you or things that you've done. And now, with all that energy, you're asking your subconscious mind that question. What will I do differently in the future? So let's look at each of those words. Let's look at what first. Your subconscious mind is being given a challenge. What will I do differently in the future? It's a very direct question, but think about it. I want you to realize the subtle power of NLP, because we throw these words out and you may be thinking, okay, I'll say what will you do differently in the future, but think about the power of that. Think about the power of the words. What will you do differently in the future? The what implies that your subconscious mind is being given a challenge. It's being given a challenge to come up with some things. What can be singular or plural, so it can be a thing or some things, but your subconscious mind must come up with something. And because it's standing in power and standing in excellence, standing in the outstanding part of you, or your patient is standing in his or her outstanding part, that answer is very powerful. And so the information that comes out of that is very powerful, and your subconscious mind becomes programmed, or their subconscious mind becomes programmed to get that. So think about it. Think about if you were in the circle of dullness, or the circle of despair, or whatever circle you may be creating in your life on a day-to-day basis, or whatever circle your patients may be creating for themselves by their negative thinking. And they stand in that, and they say things like, what am I going to do tomorrow? What do you think the answer is going to be when they ask something like that, standing in that kind of lack of power? What am I going to do tomorrow? Well, probably not anything exciting. Probably not anything outstanding. Probably not anything that's going to shake anyone up or change the world. It's probably going to be something based on the state that they're in, which is a state of lack of power. And it could be dullness, it could be boredom, it could be feeling a lack of energy, it could be anything negative. So when you create this circle, it's a circle of power. So the what becomes more powerful. What will you do differently? Now think about the word do. You're going to do something. What will you do? Will you do? You're going to do it. What? That leaves wide open. All kinds of powerful, wonderful things. Will you do? You're going to do that thing or that groups of things. Those, whatever it is you've thought of, you're going to do that. Now, here's the key word. This is the most important word. Differently. Okay? It's not business as usual next time around. It's differently in the future. What will you do? give me the list of things you're actually committed to doing differently in the future. You're going to change a behavior. Simple sentence with so much programming in it. It's the beauty of NLP. I want you to really embrace that beauty. You're going to do something differently. You're not going to do the same thing. You're not going to do the thing that didn't work very well. Because if everything's going great, why are you in the circle? What are you doing in the circle? You don't need the circle. If everything's going great, your patient doesn't need the circle. But if they're in the circle, the understanding is that something is not quite right. Something is not going as well as they want it to. So you're going to do something differently. And you're going to do it in the future. You're programming yourself or them to do it in the future. So realize the power that you hold in your mind and in your voice and the things that you do with your patients and yourself with NLP. And by the way, what are you going to do differently?